Recently I've had quite a few people contact me about ankle mobility, specifically more for weightlifting but also for powerlifting, so I just wanted to put a few bits together just to try and help give people some bits to do at home that they can do to help ease off those ankles. It just enables us to find the right ranges of movement, and without being able to find those right ranges of movement for both sports, it won't enable us to keep the weight nice and flat through the feet and emit the force as we want to. Not all of this is my own work. A lot of the stuff I do, and actually as an instructor or a coach, it's really nice to sometimes just switch off and listen and be instructed yourself. A lot of that I do through Hat at Map Online. Really knowledgeable young lady, and has got a really good thing going with Map Online. I definitely recommend people to go and have a look at it. But without further ado, so the first thing we'll probably look to do is to warm up those areas and start to do some trigger point work. Starting with the ball, just start to roll off the feet, roll off the main body, keep control of that ball. So you want to roll off that main body, left and right, work the whole area, heel down on the floor, try and just splay those toes as far apart as you can so we can really feel the bones of that foot before it meets the toes, just opening up, really getting control of that foot. We'll spend a lot longer on these, and the biggest thing with the mobility side of things is that everybody's mobility is different, so you need to figure out where in which your mobility time needs to be spent. So then take your toes on the floor, take the weight onto the heel, just manipulate just where that tendon hits the bone, just manipulate and try and get some blood flushed through there. You can spend a lot more time on this, and the benefit for these is that the whole of that posterior chain is linked. So as soon as you start easing off, certainly where all the nerves hit the connective tissue, it starts to send messages through that posterior chain and start to ease off that posterior chain that little bit more. So we do that on both sides. We can then move on to one that a lot of people tend to forget, is your tibialis anterior that runs down the side of that shin. Will affect the tension in the front of that ankle. So the best one I've used for this, another one I've stolen from Hat, is to just take that ball, place the knee on the floor, take the ball just in the outside of that tib ant, and then just flex and extend that foot. Most people will find a trigger point somewhere. Mine tends to be about halfway down the muscle. And then we'll move that all the way down until you can no longer touch the floor, and then we'll start to roll and move off. Manipulate it as best we can just to move that tissue. When we get to the bottom, we'll just find that area of tissue, give it a little bit of, and the reason we want to be doing this is so that we have something contacting that muscle on the outside, and that contact encourages blood flow. It starts to kind of ease off, and it's the massage that you would normally have done outside, that you would have done for yourself. We then want to start rolling off, so we can double roll our calves to start with. Just have a little fact finding, try and find the treasure, internally rotate, externally rotate, just to manipulate and warm up that area. We can then go on to a single leg, try and keep that foot nice and relaxed, and then if you find specific trigger points, just put some pressure. It should be 7 or 8 out of 10, and then turn that toe back towards you, point that toe away, exactly the same as we did with tib ant. If you're not getting too much pressure from that, we can then go onto that trigger point ball, find exactly the same trigger points, a little bit of pressure in, and then flex and extend. Start to move the tissue over the top of the ball. So we've eased off that tissue, both front and back of the shin. So one of my favourites, a lot of people are doing these days, we have banded distractions. It's almost best to have a little bit of an incline. We want to make sure that band, which is anchored down at the back there, the band ideally sits on top of the foot bone, on top of the talus, just to pull that bone down. It's quite common for people that get a little bit of tension or pinching just in the front there. And we want to force that knee over the toe a little bit, try and make sure that that heel stays on the floor, the weight's distributed evenly through that foot, and we're just searching for that position. It stays on the floor. The knee searches inside and out, but it's really key that we keep that foot flat on the floor. We really search for that range of movement. And then we've just got our standard stretches that we can do. We wouldn't want to be holding them for too long. One of the ones that I like to do, turn your kettlebell up nice and upturned. Place your foot just on the top of the ball part of the or the bell part of the kettlebell, and up. If it's too hard, you can then just place it on the handle, and off you go. It's kind of a few little bits and bobs. I'm not a massive fan of static stretching. It's more about manipulating that tissue and trying to force that range of movement, but make sure you're warmed up before you do it, and hopefully that one helps.